In the heart of the jungle, where the roar of a tiger pierces the stillness of the night, a researcher tirelessly fights for the survival of one of the world's most endangered species. What she discovers could change the fate of these majestic animals forever. Dr. Laura Jones stood at the edge of the dense jungle, gazing into the green thicket. The sounds of the forest, the chirping of birds, the buzzing of insects, and the distant roar of a tiger, filled the air. She was here to study and protect one of the world's most endangered species, the Bengal tiger. Laura was a renowned biologist with a passion for wildlife. Her research had taken her to the remotest corners of the earth, but the Indian jungle presented a new challenge. The tiger population had dramatically declined in recent years, and Laura hoped her work would contribute to the conservation of these magnificent animals. Together with her team of local guides and experienced scientists, Laura had set up a camp deep in the heart of the jungle. The days were long, and the nights often restless, but the determination of everyone involved was unwavering. They had set up camera traps, collected DNA samples, and tracked the tiger's movements using GPS collars. One evening, as Laura sat in her tent analyzing the latest data, she suddenly heard excited murmurs outside. She stepped out and saw her colleague Ravi approaching, his face beaming with excitement. "Laura, you have to see this," he said, pointing to the screen of his laptop. "One of our camera traps captured something amazing." Laura leaned over the screen and saw the image of a magnificent tiger staring directly into the camera. But it wasn't just any tiger. This tiger had a distinctive, crescent-shaped mark on its forehead. Laura recognized him immediately. "That's Rajah," she whispered. Rajah was a well-known tiger in the region, but he hadn't been seen for months. Many had assumed he was dead. The discovery of Rajah alive and well was a beacon of hope. Laura knew this tiger could be key to saving his kin. If she could study his movements and behavior closely, she could gain valuable insights to help stabilize and protect the tiger population. The next morning, Laura set out with her team to follow Rajah's trail. They knew they had to be cautious. Tigers were shy and dangerous animals, and the jungle was an unpredictable place. Yet, the determination of everyone was palpable. They followed the tracks through dense vegetation, across rivers, and through swampy terrain. During their journey, they came across numerous signs of Rajah's presence, scratch marks on trees, fresh paw prints, and occasionally a distant roar. Laura could barely contain her excitement. Every step brought them closer to their goal. One afternoon, as they were traversing a particularly dense area, Laura accidentally veered off the path. She tried to find her way back to the team, but the thick jungle made orientation difficult. Panic began to rise as she realized she was drifting further away from the team. The sun slowly set, and the darkness of the jungle began to envelop her. Laura knew that the night in the jungle was dangerous, especially alone. She looked for a safe place to spend the night and finally found a large tree whose roots offered some protection. The sounds of the jungle grew louder and more menacing, and Laura felt small and vulnerable. Suddenly, she heard a faint rustling nearby. She reached for her flashlight and shone it in the direction of the noise. Her eyes met the glowing pair of eyes of a tiger. It was Rajah. Laura held her breath, unable to move. To her surprise, Rajah did not appear aggressive. Instead, he slowly approached and sat down at a safe distance, as if standing guard. The presence of the tiger inexplicably calmed Laura. She felt that Rajah would protect her. The night passed without incident, and as the first rays of sunlight penetrated the jungle, Rajah was still there. Laura carefully stood up and watched as the tiger also rose and slowly trotted into the jungle. It was almost as if he was inviting her to follow. With a sense of trust, Laura followed the majestic animal. Rajah led her through the dense jungle, across rivers, and through rough terrain. After hours of walking, Laura suddenly recognized familiar markings and the path they had previously taken. Rajah had led her back. When she finally reached her camp, she was joyfully greeted by her team. Everyone had been worried and searching for her. Laura told them about her encounter with Rajah and how the tiger had helped her find her way back. The story was astonishing and touched everyone on the team. Back at camp, Laura sat at her desk and began compiling her findings. She wrote reports, analyzed data, and developed plans for future conservation measures. But as she worked, she couldn't shake the thoughts of Rajah. The tiger had become a symbol of hope and determination for her. One morning, as the first rays of sunlight fell through the trees, Laura heard a familiar roar in the distance. She stepped out of her tent and looked in the direction of the sound. There, at the edge of the camp, stood Rajah. He looked at her, his eyes sparkling in the sunlight. In that moment, Laura knew her work was making a difference. She had built a connection with this majestic animal, and her determination to protect the tigers was stronger than ever. She knew the path ahead was long and full of challenges, but she was ready to face it. The days passed, and Laura's research began to bear fruit. With the insights gained, she developed strategies to protect the tigers' habitats and combat poaching. She worked closely with the local population to raise awareness and promote alternative sources of income that would reduce the pressure on the tiger population. One of her most important measures was the establishment of protected areas where tigers could live and breed undisturbed. Laura advocated for these areas to be strictly monitored and protected to ensure the tigers' safety. During her work, Laura also developed close relationships with the people in the region. She realized that protecting the tigers was only possible through cooperation with the local population. Together, they worked on finding solutions that met the needs of both people and tigers. Years passed, and Laura's work began to show sustainable success. The tiger population slowly recovered, and the protected areas became safe havens for the majestic animals. Laura remained dedicated and tirelessly worked to secure the tigers' future. But despite all the successes, Laura knew the fight was far from over. The threats to the tigers were diverse and complex, and constant efforts were needed to ensure their existence. Laura was determined to continue this fight and do everything in her power to protect the tigers. Rajah was not just a symbol for the tigers but also for the hope and determination needed to protect nature. Laura knew her work would never end, but she was ready to face this challenge. Years passed, and Laura continued her mission. She traveled to other parts of the world to study and protect endangered species, but the memory of Rajah and the Indian jungle always remained in her heart. Through her tireless work and dedication, Laura succeeded in raising awareness for the protection of endangered species and inspiring people around the world. She knew the path was long and full of challenges, but she was ready to walk it, in the jungle's thrall and with Rajah's spirit by her side. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please give us a like and subscribe to our channel to not miss any more exciting stories. Stay tuned for more adventures, and see you next time.